Okay, here we are in Module 5, and we're going to start to understand how we can keep our scene organized and organize the actual objects that we're creating. So when we're starting to develop and we're creating a new scene, sometimes we, will want items together, and then sometimes we'll want items apart. Sometimes we'll want them to be combined. And knowing these processes and techniques will save so much time in our development. So let's take a look at this process here. And we're going to go ahead and create a few primitives. So I'm going to create a cube, and I can either go to the shelf or I can come up here to create, and I can go to Polygon Primitives, and then I can select the cube or a cylinder. Maybe I'll do a cylinder. Yeah, they're always a little bit more entertaining. Now let's go back and do a cube. I said cube, we'll keep with cube. Alright, so I chose the cube from the actual shelf, and I'll hit F to frame it, and I'm going to bring it up a little here so we can see it. I have the same stage that I created for some of the other tutorials prior to this, so that's where this lighting is coming from. Now next, I also want to create another object. So I'm going to create a sphere. I'm just going to grab it and pull it up here so we can see it. Again, I'm going to bring it above our grid. Move over here to the left a little bit, maybe raise it up. And so now we have this cube, okay, and we can move it and translate it. And we have this sphere, and we can move it and translate it. And notice that they are separately moving. They move on their own. However, what if we wanted to make these move together, be part of one group per se? So one way we can do it is that within our outliner here, we see that we have some populated areas, and this is our cube, obviously, and when I select it in the outliner, it also selects it in the viewport. You can see that there. And the same thing, if I select it in the viewport, it selects it in the outliner. Same thing with the sphere. Yeah. And what I'm going to do next is I want to make these two part of the same hierarchy. Okay, so I'm going to select the sphere here, and I want it to control my cube. Well, what do you mean? Well, let's take a look. I want it to rotate with my sphere. Sounds a little tricky, right? But it's not. What we can do is we can either select our items here in the outliner, and we're going to parent them. So I'm going to select both of those by holding down Shift, and then I'm going to hit P. All right. Doing so, if you look here, it's created this small group of hierarchy group here, and it's put the sphere on the top and the cube on the bottom. I can still move the cube. See, it moves freely. However, if I select the top hierarchy, the sphere, and move it, oh, now we have something a little bit more, outside of the normal, because the sphere is the parent and the cube is the child. Okay, again, the cube can still be moved, all right, and the sphere can still be moved independently in a sense, but it's going to drag the cube with it. So planning and understanding this is pretty important. All right, and you can parent many objects together, and we will definitely cover that. However, for now, let's go ahead and show you a different way to parent. Another way is in the outliner, where I can select this cube and I can middle click, or I can drag it right on top of the sphere. Okay, and you have to middle click and drag it. If you drag it with the the left button or anything, it really won't work. So you want to make sure that you're middle clicking and then dragging and dropping it right on top of my sphere here. Okay, so next I wanted to talk to you a little bit about other ways to organize our scene, and one of them is the display layers over here. We've touched on it from time to time in other scenes. but I want to talk to you a little bit about it. The layer that I'm on now is the studio layer. In other words, it's this background. Okay, and I named it. Right now it's set to R, which is a reference layer. That means we can't select it. But if I set it to T, it all becomes this like transparent type of wireframe layer. You can't select it, yet you still can see the scene. So it's good for aligning things too. I'm going to go back to a reference layer with it, that way we can't select it. But I want to show you how to add things and kind of create your own layers here with this. The stool right now is set to this layer here, and we can toggle it through to, the reference layer as well, to where we cannot select it. So definitely explore layers. They're pretty powerful. Let's look over here at the outliner. I'm going to show you another way of organizing our scene, and this is groups. Okay, groups are very important. You will see them throughout development. Now, inside this group, it's located kind of like a hierarchy that we explored earlier, but each group houses usually different content and assets. This one here is a lot of primitives that make up this stool. You can even have subgroups. Down here at the bottom we have this gear subgroup. Okay, and that just houses all of the gears within this mechanical chair. So group hierarchy is really, really important, and it does allow you to stay organized in your scene, but it also allows you to pick things and choose things and manipulate things very quickly. Make sure that you name them to stay organized. And again, it will create this it's actually a transform, but it does show the hierarchy in the name of the chair, and that is the highest point of this particular model. So if we wanted to, grab that particular model, we could do so. Has some other things here in the scenes, the lights. You make sure that you name those correctly. You can put lights in groups. Sometimes they will get a little squirrely, but you can do it. Organizing your scene is utmost important. I mean, to know where things are, to know how to get to them quickly. It helps so much in a painstaking development process, which is 3D. So go ahead and explore them. Explore these particular workflows, and let me know, and as we move forward here, if there's anything else I can show you for selecting and organizing and transforming.